What if I told you guys that I was ripped off for $7,500 for auditing with the promise to fix my mental health and was regged for another $10,000 to try to fix and repair my marriage? And when I was at my very, very lowest, and I was depressed, suicidal, and overdosing, I was advised not to seek medical care and not to get mental health therapy, to not see a therapist, to not see a psychiatrist, that they were evil, and to continue to pay them. When I was brave enough to speak up about this, that this person had everyone from this group disconnect from me, whereas now I am shunned from this group. Now I am being attacked. There are videos being put on the internet about me with untrue comments, attacking my mental health, attacking me for my sexuality, and all these different things. If I told you that this wasn't the Church of Scientology doing this, that this was outside of the Church of Scientology, all spearheaded by Karen De La Carriere. Hey guys, welcome to Mangotology, and thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. So if you'd like to stay up to date on all my videos, please make sure to go down below, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on your bell notifications, and you'll get an alert whenever I release a new video exposing Scientology. Now, today's video is part 3 to the series I am doing on independent Scientology, anti-Scientology, and exposing Karen De La Carriere. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, or you haven't seen part 1 and 2, please pause this video, go down below on my channel, and watch the first 2 parts, since that tells the whole entire story from start to finish. And today's video is going to be the aftermath of all of this, as well as showing you guys some more proof, more screenshots and receipts on Karen, as well as the fair game that she has been ordering against me. I have a lot of different things I need to clear up, different rumors, different accusations, the lies that are going on around me, even sexually related videos are being used against me. So we're going to be talking about that all today. But like I said, part 1 is where you guys should begin. It is called Exposing Independent Scientology and My Crazy $7,500 Auditing Session. And part 2 is called Inside the Ex-Scientology Cult and the Truth About Karen De La Carriere. So those 2 parts have, again, more screenshots, and it tells the whole entire story about how I got swindled for $7,500 from Karen De La Carriere, as well as all that you need to know about the anti-Scientology movement. So I know, and I've been seeing a lot of different comments from you guys. I've been getting so much support and so much love, and I really appreciate all of you guys who have taken this time to hear me out and let me share this story. This channel is not, and I can assure you guys, will not be a channel where I'm talking about Scientology critics. I am going to continue on my mission exposing Scientology, because that's what I came here to do on Mangotology. So there will be more videos exposing Scientology coming right after I post this video here. Now, a lot of people wonder, why did you wait so long to tell this story? Like, is it weird that, or could it be perceived as some sort of like ulterior motive that you have? Or why would you come out now versus a couple years ago when you first got taken advantage of from Karen? So what I have to say about that is, she is, as you guys probably can tell if you guys are keeping up with a lot of Scientology critics and others who post videos here on YouTube, they are basically a organized cult-like group, which we're going to get to a little bit later on in this video about why that is. But Karen is one of the most famous and powerful ones in this critic movement. And as I've shown and detailed in the last 2 parts of this video, she has a lot of power and influence in the ex-Scientology world, as well as with the media and with a lot of different individuals. Whereas if you fall out of favor with Karen, then you're going to suffer the consequences like I have now, and we're going to be addressing in your Gay Pope's video and Chris Shelton's video, that Karen ordered to be made against me, and I've proved that she did this, which we're getting to, don't worry. I just want to say that I was honestly fearful about speaking up about this person and being cast out of this group. Now, until I really looked at all the different signs and all the different pieces, I didn't really connect everything right away, so I couldn't really necessarily realize I was in a cult right away. Of course, there were the signs and there were things that upset me over the years, But when the final nail went into the coffin, so to speak, that's when I was like, okay, I have to get out of this mess, and I need to share my story because it has to do with the leaving Scientology recovery process and how there are these different, very manipulative, toxic, and vampire-like individuals who will come into your life even when you're at your lowest of leaving a cult. I mean, you're not at the top of life when you're leaving a cult, and these people know that, and it's so sinister that they will take you in and they will rope you into their world, and they will use and manipulate you, just like how Karen De La Carriere did to me. So I was scared. I considered her like a motherly figure to me, and the other people that I was introduced to, and I'm telling you guys, hundreds of people that I've been introduced to in the ex-Scientology world, I knew that it was conditional of me towing the line and being able to stay in good favor with individuals like Karen, because if I speak out against Karen, then just like how you guys see what's happening right now, I'm going to be accused of being an OSA spy, and she's working on trying to destroy my life. They're trying to dig up court cases on me and trying to do the most, if we can put it like that, against me because I left Karen's group. Now, again, it's very interesting where she can be pumping you up and talking about you in her groups and telling the media about how you're this, amazing critic and all these different wonderful things if you continue to do her bidding for her. The second that you disagree, then you fell out of favor and now you're an enemy, and it's attack, attack, attack. And it's just like how Scientology does to people when they fall out of favor with Scientology. What did they do to Marty Rathbun, to Mike Rinder, to all the different critics that you and I know about? They slime them and slander them and tell them that they were kicked out of the ecclesiastical group and they have crimes and transgressions and all of those different things. So I just want to show you guys in this part of the video the aftermath and the fair game and everything that's happening, because you guys have to see how similar this is to Scientology outside of Scientology. What's happening to me and what's being run on me is basically right out of L. Ron Hubbard's playbook. And I think someone such as Karen studied L. Ron Hubbard over the years, and when they wanted to assert more power and dominance on others, they decided to basically go right out of the L. Ron Hubbard playbook in order to carry out and execute what L. Ron Hubbard would do. And I am being fair game, there's videos being made against me, and all these different things, which is exactly what Scientology does. When I accuse these individuals of acting like Scientology, it's very telling when you see everything that's happening to me is basically what would happen to me leaving Scientology. Only this time, it has been worse to speak out against in Scientology. The fair game and repercussions are even worse, and I am more fearful about making these videos than I ever was about Scientology. And I am 100% telling you guys that that is not an exaggeration. And now, think about it. I was trying to leave and recover from Scientology, and I fell into this person's world, and what I've gone through in the last couple of years, it was, again, 7 years of my life now, guys, where I was involved with this individual, and now I have to have a recovery process of what I just came out of. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into the video. So the very first thing that I wanted to address in this video is the time frame, because a lot of people are a little bit murky on this and they don't really understand when I received the auditing from Karen. So the very first time I began my auditing with Karen was late 2013 to early 2014. Now, I don't even think Karen is denying that she was involved in independent Scientology around this time. However, that was just the very beginning. And while I was experiencing really significant mental health conditions and presenting these to her, she, again, as you guys can see in the last two parts, advised me not to seek medical help, advised me not to see a therapist or a psychiatrist, and I'd have to go into session with Karen to handle these conditions. I was advised not to take any type of medication, psychiatrically or otherwise, and that Karen would be the one to help me from these problems because psychiatrists or psychologists, therapists, whatever, have bad stats. And they would actually undo any of the good that she began to deliver to me in Scientology auditing sessions. Any mental health professional would dismantle anything that she did to benefit me through her auditing work on me, right? And again, you guys can see how manipulative that is to tell someone that if they seek outside help, then they are going to get worse. And even after presenting my mental health, which we're going to show you guys very shortly how she was actually using Ingrid Gay Pope and others to actually attack my mental health and using it against me to discredit me. You guys are going to be disgusted when you see what I'm about to show you guys. But I'm, again, going in order here for you to say that when I was overdosing, when I was suicidal, when she was advising me not to get actual medical help, it again reminds me just of like Lisa McPherson or others who were told, don't get medical care, use Scientology. And this is someone who was out of Scientology for at least 3 to 4 years when she was telling me this. So no matter which way you want to spin it, that's how dangerous it is. She's not licensed to practice Scientology outside of Scientology, which means she's not a therapist or any type of licensed individual. Never mind, she's not protected by the Church of Scientology to deliver counseling sessions outside of the church. So I also want to let you guys know too, because a lot of people are wondering like, oh, why didn't you go behind the scenes or ask Karen for a refund? I did on 3 separate occasions. Now, I requested these refunds on PayPal as a way to document, so I have the paperwork to show that I requested 3 separate refunds from her before I later on and now seek legal action because she has not been willing to try to compromise or settle with me with regard to the refund. So let me show you guys just so you can see what I'm talking about. Here is the first request that I made on PayPal for $7,500. The note says Stephen Mango refund request. The second request here says Stephen Mango refund, second documented attempt. And the third one says third and final settlement attempt for Stephen Mango before legal action. And from all 3 of these, I've received no response to. Now, this is not about money, neither are any of these videos. As you guys can see, this is how much I've made on my Karen videos so far. The first video made a whopping $47.33, and the second video's made $19.09. So there isn't any sort of financial motivation to make these videos. Again, they're not like super profitable where I'm really going to be swimming in all the cash to be able to make it about money. It's really about helping other people, just like myself, who were, say, for example, in Scientology and who left. I knew I was never going to see a dime of the $50,000 from Scientology, and neither were making those videos somehow like a way to get Scientology to pay up or anything like that. It was just to help other people from getting roped into the world of Scientology. Same thing with these videos, to show people, because most people are too scared to speak up about Karen. This is my way of showing the world and putting it out there at large so other people can avoid this individual and the ex or anti-Scientology movement in this type of organized fashion. I thought this would be a good place to insert this screenshot of Chris Shelton addressing my video on his YouTube channel. He said, "I don't think you understand how blackmail works, or you don't see a shakedown when you see one." Someone said, "Chris Shelton, it's not about the money, it's about cultish behavior and control." Another person said, "There's no blackmail or shakedown at all. It's a young man who is conned out of $7,500. Karen advertises that she audits. We all know this." Now, I began to receive auditing from Karen much later from this point, and even as she continued to attack Scientology online. And I'm going to show you guys some evidence of this as well. So as recently as 2015, while Karen was auditing me at this period, she also worked on this like money forum with me to try to help get my finances in order through these like different Scientology methods, I guess you can say. Even though she was responsible for taking $7,500, trying to get $17,500 for me and my husband for psychotherapy services. And she was, again, using Scientology lingo, and she was coming up with this form that I'm supposed to follow to try to better my financial state. And then I'm going to show you guys what Karen was actually posting on the ex-Scientology message board right at the same time she was helping me with this form. So let's take a look. From Karen on February 23rd, 2015, the Money Standard Action. Step 1 says work out exactly what the person, unit, activity should be producing. So there's different bullet pointed things that Karen listed out here. You guys can pause if you want to read it. I blocked out some other more personal things that she wrote about in this form. But again, you can see the language that she's using is very much Scientology, saying overts and withholds and many other Scientology terms. Here she says, work out the ideal scene. Ideal scene is a Scientology term. She says, a Stephen Mango who's creating wealth and affluence, higher ethical operating basis on money issues, no blank with blank, highly competent and productive in the workplace, with clean hands with blank, and good ARC with no blank, and ability to not spend more than they make and not indulge in immediate gratification. Now, on February 2nd, 2015, about 2 to 3 weeks before we actually sat down after an auditing session to make that form, she said, "The Church of Scientology is a genocidal master race cult." This was on the ex-Scientology message board. She says, "All references provided from church doctrines." And she goes on to say here on February 22nd, 2015, a mere 3 days before my sit down with Karen in 2015, she said, "Scientology cult members are actually coached in redefining a lie as truth if it is the greatest good for Scientology Inc. They are told it is an acceptable truth, a white lie, or a lie approved of by the ethics officer. Lying to family relatives on how happy they are inside the Church of Sea Org while security listens in on the phone is applauded as a very well done. It has no conscience, none. It does not recognize when it commits atrocities and abuses. It has no feeling of regret or shame and never apologizes." Sound a little bit like you, Karen, there, doesn't it? "It does occasionally blame a former staff member, now departed, as the SP that did such and such, but it has zero remorse for splitting up families, acting out on sadistic punishments of highly controlled behavior modification. Meanwhile, it spouts on propaganda craving good PR." So again, there are many examples such as this where Karen knows, and it's even in writing like you guys see here, that Karen is very much aware of Scientology being a cult and all the different crimes and atrocities. Meanwhile, she's still applying Scientology technology outside of the church. As you guys can see, Karen could be going online very critically about Scientology at the same time she's delivering those services. Now, again, I don't have the exact date in mind of the last session I had with Karen on grade 2. I believe it was as recently as 2017. It could have been 2016, but again, it was within the 3-4 year time period of when Karen was still A, seeing public, B, she was still very critical about the church, C, she was telling people she wasn't auditing, and she was at the time, and she was taking people into session while being very vocal to attack Scientology on the internet. And like I told you guys, if she's telling Mike Rinder, or she's telling, you know, very vocal critics, maybe even the Angry Gay Pope or Chris Shelton or whomever, that she's not auditing, it doesn't mean that she stopped. She just doesn't want to come under the criticism of doing that. Because I feel her and Jeffrey Augustine find it as a way to control others, a way to make a lot of money, and it's kind of like ingrained in their system or in their mindset as former Scientologists now turn secret independent Scientologists to do this in order to continue to bring people into their fold, I guess you can say, or to enrich themselves, or whatever the real reason that Karen and Jeffrey still operate in this way. I've even seen a pre-clear folder around Thanksgiving time, because Karen had us over her house for Thanksgiving one year, and that was at least, like, I would say 3 years ago. And Jeffrey Augustine, her husband, actually had a pre-clear folder sitting on the kitchen table. So I'm 100% sure that she is auditing her husband as well as taking other pre-clears into session. Now, I followed up for you guys on the other independent Scientologist who's kind of more of a figure in that world to elaborate on Karen still auditing public as of September 2019. So this is what he had to say. In a Facebook DM, the independent Scientologist said, "It is a good friend of mine, and I knew for sure he was getting L's from her, but he promised and I promised to keep it confidential. The fact that I mentioned it at all was a stretch, which is why I can't give out his name. Others have mentioned cases of Karen delivering auditing before that in the last year, in 2019, but it was passed on in the hushed tones, I think, at the last Free Zone convention in June in Reno." So when you guys take people into session, again, just like if you go see a therapist, you're not able to give names and details, obviously. If I'm a therapist and I see Britney Spears, I'm not going to be able to tell the world that Britney Spears is my client due to HIPAA, and even though this is different, there's still that obligation that you're not going to reveal who's going into private counseling sessions with an auditor. So I understand why I didn't give names, but he's a credible individual, and I know that for a fact Karen was seeing people as recently as September 2019 based on this information. And again, at the Free Zone convention, which happens every single year, it's an independent Scientology convention, there were talks about Karen still auditing people at last year's independent Scientology convention. So I am not under any sort of confusion on whether or not Karen's auditing people. To me, it is crystal clear that she just doesn't want to come under fire because she wants to come across as this like powerhouse critic, when in the meantime she's still delivering Scientology counseling sessions. And I know that you guys are there feeling so disappointed to hear these words come out of my mouth. You guys are you know, rightfully angry and upset, and I've seen your comments and messages and emails and stuff, like, how could she? Like, she's been through so much with Scientology, and she comes across as this big figure of a critic who hates Scientology. How could she still be doing this? Like, you guys feel deceived by it just as much as I do, having been involved in this world. And I hear you and I understand, and I think that you guys should be upset and you should voice your concerns about this, because Karen is still not using her own platform to address anything that I've said. So I also wanted to show you guys a screenshot from an individual who I mentioned before, Corey Andrews. He is one of the original, as of a couple months ago, whistleblowers on Karen, Mike Rinder, and Karen Presley, and he like released all these different screenshots with them to kind of point out their hypocrisy and stuff. He actually received payments from Karen in order to post different things and to carry out Karen's agenda. So I wanted to show you guys a screenshot of his direct messages with Karen so you guys can see how this actually is carried out, as well as a screenshot from his PayPal. So let's take a look. In a direct message between Karen and Corey, Karen said, "Corey, please tweet this video and post it to any groups you can, but introduce it in your own creation." Then he said, "I will get around to it shortly, watching it now." She goes, "Thanks a million, Corey. I would like to send you a little gift. Do you have a PayPal account?" And he said he did, and she said, "Can I have your PayPal address?" And here is the screenshot from Corey's PayPal showing that he received a $100 payment from Karen's Kincaid Art Store, so it's coming from her business account, to Corey Andrews in order to do some different posting for Karen. So again, guys, I have the screenshots and the proof, and these are things that Karen can't deny. I think that's why Karen's been working very hard behind the scenes to call me OSA, saying back in good standing with Scientology or working for Scientology, when my husband's anti-Scientology, just like how I am, and I'm gay, married to a guy. I'm in here on YouTube every single day making critical videos about Scientology, like, very interesting theory that Scientology would have to use me to continue to expose them, to make videos about critics. It doesn't make any sense. It is the common thing for a lot of these individuals outside of Scientology to say, oh, they're OSA, in order to discredit and make that person look like a Scientology spy. It's easy, and I could say the same thing to them when they've been making these hate videos about me, like, wow, like they came against Steve Mango. Oh my god, they came against another critic, meaning me. Oh my god, so that must mean that they're OSA. If they made a video about another critic, it must be because they're in cahoots with Scientology or something. Don't believe like anything that they say or whatever. Like, you guys can see, it's like nonsense. And they also say it's critics attacking critics. My video was initially about my experience in the independent Scientology world. I didn't even name Karen. I just wanted to share the story about how I was conned in the independent Scientology world. Then when the disconnection started happening, and then once everything kind of snowballed from there, then I made the second video kind of going more into detail about how it was Karen and exposing it, because I realized it was the right thing to do. But again, it wasn't like I came out right away like exposing Karen. And again, even when I was making that video, I still was nervous to fall out of good graces with this group that embraced me when I left Scientology, and were the people who understood me, I thought, for we've all been in the same kind of cult-like traumatic circumstance. So let's get into like some of the fair game and the accusations and stuff that are being said about me, just because it's so upsetting that I wanted to talk about it. So 2 videos came out, Chris Shelton and Angry Gay Pope. It was actually predicted that Aaron Smith-Levin might make a video about me or Chris Shelton, but Angry Gay Pope and Chris Shelton were the 2 who ultimately got paid off by Karen. So Angry Gay Pope will be the first person we're talking about, even though Chris Shelton's video came out first, because the Angry Gay Pope video is so laughable and so ridiculous, and he's actually thinking and believing that attacking my mental health and all these different things are a way to discredit very clear-cut evidence and claims and accusations I made against De La Carriere. So Angry Gay Pope has been on Karen De La Carriere's payroll. It's not a big shock, and he's even in her credits of her YouTube videos where he is listed as her editor. So let's take a look at that. As you can see here from Karen's YouTube channel, Surviving Scientology, you can see the editor is listed as the Angry Gay Pope. I know that he was working for her because Karen asked me if I would be willing to make videos for her, because the payments were too small for the the Angry Gay Pope to be able to work more full-time for her, and she was asking me if I'd be willing to work for $50 a video, which obviously wasn't worth it to me, but that's just how I know that he was receiving payments from Karen, because she told me that, and obviously, as you guys can see here, he's listed as the editor for her channel. I have seen Angry Gay Pope at Karen's house on multiple occasions. I've seen Karen De La Carriere talking to Angry Gay Pope outside of him actually being physically present. So I know that he does work for Karen because she throws him a little bit of cash here and there. And given that he's an unemployed video editor and he is using his platform to sell out to someone for money, it just goes to show he was probably hard up for some money, and Karen said, hey, if you put out a video, we'll work with you on it, and that will be that. And Angry Gay Pope, again, I've said on my channel, this isn't like a new thing, that I don't support how Angry Gay Pope protests and, you know, be very aggressive and screaming at people. And like, if I was a Scientologist, that wouldn't have worked on me at the time. You know what I mean? So I don't think like his videos are effective to wake people up from the Scientology brainwashing. They might be entertaining to people, but I don't think they're actually effective. And, you know, he's been arrested for like showing up and filming people at schools, like children, at like Scientology-based schools like Delphi. Just a quick interruption because there isn't another place to put it in this video, but here is the legal document history of the Angry Gay Pope for all the different litigation that he's had to engage in with regard to Scientology. This is from his website if you guys want to look into this a little bit more to see the claims that have been brought against him. And it doesn't matter if it's Scientology, guys, or Catholicism or anything. Filming kids is creepy. Like, we just have to like call a spade here, right? Like, there's no denying that that's just like a little odd. So he's come under fire with that and obviously had been arrested for this. And I believe that Karen at the time might have helped get him out of jail maybe, or I think something must have happened around that time. I know that when those different things were happening, Karen and Jeffrey Augustine were very supportive of Angry Gay Pope, so there had to be something there that made it seem like, just like what Karen did to me, hey, we helped you out so much, why can't you do this favor and make this video on Mango? Now, you guys are wondering, okay, so why would you think that because Angry Gay Pope made a video that it has to do about Karen? Well, Angry Gay Pope made this comment on his YouTube channel, which confirms that he was actually making this video in cahoots with De La Carriere and Jeffrey Augustine and another individual by the name of Granberry. So let's take a look at that. On Angry Gay Pope's YouTube channel, someone asked him, how much did Karen pay you, Pope, to make this video? I hope selling your soul out to Satan comes with a decent paycheck at least. He said, sock puppet account. Both Karen, Jeffrey, and Granberry worked with me on this video and approved it, but nobody has paid me anything yet. Would you like a golden ticket to the factory tour? Look at how fixated you are on money. Perhaps I do things like the Sea Org workers do for something else. As an anon, I want Scientology practice in homes and dismantled in its present form. Karen has audited all kinds of people, including journalists who want a test session. So she can't practice her religion in her own home? So what is it, Pope? Is it her religion and she should have the right to practice that in her home? And now you're saying as well that you want Scientology practiced in home? So are you kind of sympathizing and being an apologist for Scientology? Or what is it? I'm just a little bit confused here with what you're saying. Someone also said on Facebook to the Angry Gay Pope, why don't you disclose in your video trashing Steven that Karen is a client of yours and a major source of income for you? Not disclosing that is deceptive and dishonest of you, but disclosing that to your audience would give them all the info they need to think critically about what you are doing, and you don't want that. Now, the thing about Granberry, which is very interesting, a week or two ago, he was sending me this very nice message, which I'll show you guys, and then he posted the Angry Gay Pope video saying, feeling happy about exposing me. So let's take a look at that, then I'll tell you my thoughts. On April 22nd of this year, Granberry said, hi Steven, I was scanning through Facebook posts just now and saw a post in which you wrote that you had sent me a message but did not hear back. I'm sorry, but I've not seen it. My email is blah blah blah. I hope I can help. Meanwhile, best wishes to you and Jeff. I think that's your hubby's name, I hope. And stay safe and healthy. And then yesterday he posted, Granberry is feeling happy. And he posted the Angry Gay Pope's video that he made in conjunction with Karen and Jeffrey Augustine, which was titled Scientologist Cosmetologist Steve Mango on the Borderline of Sanity. So he completely switched within a week or two after Karen influenced him to. So again, these people change like boom at the drop of a hat, right when someone like Karen De La Carriere spends so much time on her back channel groups telling people I'm a Scientology spy, telling them I'm in cahoots with Corey Andrews and Alonzo who are anti-Karen, telling other people that I'm this like horrible person who's a fraud, so on and so forth, and using their control and their powerful position to exile me out of the ex-Scientology community to, again, prevent people from seeing all this proof that I'm showing you guys. It's just very interesting that Graham Barry, who's a lawyer who, again, has been paid by Karen De La Carriere in the past, goes and works on this video with Karen and Ingrid Pope. And the video is highly disturbing in the sense of how they talk about my mental health and attack me. The title of the video is called Scientologist Cosmetologist Stephen Mango on the Borderline of Insanity. So again, this title is clearly Karen. She has a very specific way that she words things and how she puts certain letters not in capital. I've observed this over a long time, so you can always tell when it's Karen. You could also tell the troll accounts of Jeffrey Augustine because he writes in a very specific prose. And again, those different type of things don't, you know, just disappear out of nowhere. Like, I observe these type of things. So I knew that Karen came up with this title, and she's very aggressive, as you guys can see behind the scenes, and very manipulative and calculated, which I'm going to show you guys how that is in just a second. But the reason that they called it Borderline of Insanity, because on this channel about a week or two ago, I opened up about my diagnosis on my mental health and said that I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and they're trying to use that because I'm borderline personality, then somehow some of these other videos that I'm going to be showing you guys indicate that I must be losing my mind, that I'm crazy, and that my mental health is basically the reason I've gone so insane and off the deep end, and why I would make a video about Karen De La Carriere. Before we even jump anywhat deeper into that, what also disturbing was Ingrid Pope used the fact that because I've had suicide attempts in the past, that after his video that he assumes that I'll attempt suicide and probably go make a video about it. So let me show you that screenshot in here as well. Ingrid posted this comment on his YouTube channel and said, "I assume there will be another suicide attempt, which he will make a video out of." How sick do you have to be to even say that or joke around about it, that someone would go and attempt suicide? So you think that just because I got conned by your friend Ingrid Pope out of all this money, that you guys think it's funny that you would assume that your video or something else, or because of my mental health, I would go and attempt suicide and I would end my life, that you would joke around about that? I don't even care who I am or who you are or whatever. Like, again, even if you're a Scientologist, I wouldn't go and joke about someone committing suicide. That's absolutely disgusting, especially because a lot of my accusations against Karen had to do with my mental health and how she prevented me from getting actual medical help while I was overdosing, where I could have died because of Karen De La Carriere. I just think it's very interesting that you would say that. Now, because of my mental health, he pieces all these different videos and different clips together. It's a humorous, funny video in the sense that if you guys didn't know the serious intent that De La Carriere and a lot of these people who are like high up in Scientology or at base and stuff, it's almost like they get trained or they get audited out any of their empathy, and they learn how to attack, slander, and to slime their critics and other people. Instead of Karen having any form of empathy, being like, wow, oh my God, I can't believe, like in my mind at the time, a couple years ago, even if it was 4 or 5 years ago, she's still auditing people as of September 2019, but even regardless of that fact, it's like, oh my God, like I did wrong by him. Oh my God, I can't believe like I was so deluded by Scientology thinking that I would harm someone in this way. Instead of thinking that with like a reasonable mind, she goes and tries to make this video against me without going on her own platform, because again, Karen needs everyone else to do her dirty work so she doesn't hurt her PR. She's all about her PR, right? And that's how she thinks about the situation. It's more about maintaining her image than it is to do right by another individual. Whether that is an apology, whether that is reaching out to message me, like she didn't do any of the normal things another human to human would do, or would consider reaching out as my former life coach. My former life coach is now using my mental health against me to slander me because I was brave enough to come forward to expose the truth about what she really does. Don't you guys see like there's a big problem with that? And to use mental health against someone, maybe in Scientology that's okay when you're in the Scientology mindset. I know her and Jeffrey Augustine thought, aha, we found it. We found his diagnosis. We found that he's mentally ill. We found these sexual videos of him and all all these different things, and they're not sexual, but we'll get there. All these different things, and that's going to discredit him, and no one's going to believe that Karen Mango said about De La Carriere or anything like, yes, we finally got him. We exposed him. Karen and the Anger Gay Pope used this clip of me in their slime video on me, showing me getting jawline filler, which I don't understand how that's an attack on me in any way, but I'll just show you guys, just to show you guys how ridiculous that it is, that they're using this as a way to try to discredit me, which I'm open about getting filler and Botox, as I have other YouTube channels where it's all about that. On my other channel is getting aesthetic beauty treatments, which I get complimentary. So again, I don't understand why this is being used against me, but here it is, because I always expose myself before someone else can use something against me. What Scientology does, they go on websites and they make hate blogs and they get people to speak out and they call people prostitutes and sex perverts and whatever else that they come up against. They make up things in order to discredit that person's truth. Obviously, what it is because they're trying to make that person look crazy so they don't get believed when they come forward with the truth. So they were, again, calling me crazy, again, making fun of and mocking my mental health, and very serious things that I'm open and honest about, guys. I'm an open book on my channel, on all of social media and everything. For years, I tell you guys and I overshare about everything about my life. I talk about my mental health because this is partly not just a Scientology channel, this is a mental health channel. And I'm open and honest to you guys. I've shared everything, whether it's about my relationship, about my marriage, I share about my personal self, my failures, my successes, my money problems that I've had over the years, the post-traumatic stress after leaving Scientology. Like, I don't know any other ex-Scientologist that comes as honest and open to YouTube as I do, because I feel like a lot of them want to look like, hey, I'm over it. It didn't really affect me all that much, or it did affect me, but, you know, like I'm this hero championing against Scientology, and that's fine. I want to show you guys the real reality of a public person who left and got swindled by Scientology, then left and got manipulated by this individual. Whether you think that makes me weak-minded, naive, stupid, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's even worse that Karen knew when I first left in 2013 that I was struggling with my mental health, and she took money from a mentally ill person and tried to twist a person's mind to believe that mental health therapy and all that was bad, and to only get help from her, and then deliver Scientology counseling saying, who's the suppressive person in your life? All that sort of stuff that doesn't actually help anyone for mental health. At the same time, she's saying the stated clear doesn't exist. The same time she says auditing doesn't work, she ropes me in. And that's why I've been making these videos, because I want you guys to see the underhanded attempts that Karen does. And I want to show you guys how evil and how calculated and manipulative that she really is. I also think it's very calculated. She released a video after a long time on her channel, an old video of Chris Shelton that he made, and posted it about the death of her son Alexander. Within a day after I posted my video exposing Karen on May 10th, she posted a YouTube video called The Story of My Son Alexander Jenst, R.I.P., a Scientology tragedy in 3 acts, to try to distract from my video series on her. I'm empathetic about what she went through, and again, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's a good person, or it doesn't mean that she can't take advantage of others. And just because she did some good exposing Scientology doesn't mean that a lot of the bad things she does is justified because she spoke up about Scientology. Same thing like I analogize Bill Cosby. Make millions of people happy, but could still be a rapist or do really harmful things behind the scenes. So that's exactly the comparable analogy that I have for that situation. She uploads this video, again, for what I believe to be sympathy, to distract, to look like, oh my god, Karen, like, you went through so much, and how could Mango, like, he's such a bad guy, and I can't believe what he said about, like, this mourning mother, for example, right? And again, it's just the manipulation that she's using to try to control her audience by putting out a video very calculated. I remember when I was even sitting there at her house filming a video for her, and she was like, you have to hit this point, hit this point, hit this point. We have to go this angle, that angle, and this way. We need to get the audience to believe this, this, and this. So if you kind of go and you kind of swing around like this, it'll reach this conclusion. So she has a very specific way that she tries to control the narrative. We can get David Miscavige to feel this way or that way. And I'm not saying that that means that anything that came out of my mouth or her mouth or whatever are lies. It's just the way that she's trying to twist things to look a certain way. So again, instead of going on her own channel and addressing these accusations, which neither Anger Gay Pope's video or Chris Shelton's video addresses anything that I said. They didn't address any of my claims, anything. All they did was attack Mango, slander my mental health, make fun of me and bring up like old or information to twist it to fit whatever story that they're trying to tell. So again, I think you guys know what I've been through and you guys know about mental health. If you're just, again, not in the Scientology mind frame, you understand that mental health is no different than physical health. You're not going to use someone saying like, oh, they're in a wheelchair. Does that mean like they're not credible? So because I have depression, anxiety, or borderline personality disorder, that means that I can't be honest or truthful, or what I have to say is authentic because I have a health condition. Millions of people have this, right? Millions of people have anxiety, depression. People all over the world, you and I, have mental health things, but you use it to throw someone into the mud and trying to make them, again, using that against that person as a way to paint them off to be a bad guy. I think you guys honestly see where I'm trying to go with this, and it's just disgusting that they're using my mental health as a way to paint me off in a certain way when I get help for my mental health. I have gone to therapy, I have been working on this process with myself, but again, that has nothing to do about these accusations about Karen. I think that if anything, Karen going and trying to reg me and take money and audit me when I did vocalize I was mentally ill is even worse than anything, versus if I was just like, hey, I want to receive auditing. This was actually like a way that she was offering to help me get rid of my mental illness. You guys might not even know what borderline personality disorder even is, so I want to read some of the symptoms of it just so you guys can see what it actually is. Symptoms of borderline personality disorder: distorted self-image, feelings of isolation, boredom, and emptiness, mood swings, sometimes severe and sudden, feelings of anxiety, loss of interest in routine activities, and suicidal thoughts. So it actually stems from a fear of abandonment, and it's a personality disorder, and it's something that, again, it's not a laughing matter. It's not something to joke about and say I'm insane because I have it. Again, this is a way that a Scientologist would attack someone on the outside, which, again, I didn't attack Karen. This is critics attacking critics, according to them, of my video I made about Karen, just sharing my honest story. But then they go around and then they, if it's justified to them, they can go and attack me and show all this false information in order to make me look like a bad guy, when they say you shouldn't attack another critic, but then they go and attack me, and that's okay, and other individuals who are getting paid by Karen to do this. So I don't know. I think Karen should do her own bidding and address these accusations, and I'm holding her accountable for it by making all these different videos. She still hasn't sat on camera and made her own video. She's having other people make these very slanderous, disgusting videos. Then they go and they show my TikTok videos, trying to make it this is evidence in some way that I am on the borderline of insanity. So on TikTok, you guys may or not know, it's like Vine. You post like little funny, crazy videos sometimes, especially in the LGBT community. You can post things that are a little bit racy or a little bit sexier that you can't really post on YouTube, or just things that are shock value for, you know, getting people's attention on TikTok. And that doesn't necessarily mean that because I post the content on TikTok that way, that it means that it has anything to do about my ex-Scientology activism work. I actually did a lot of sketch comedy. I was involved with Second City, which is almost like the Groundlings, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's basically like an improv troupe. So again, I love that, and as a performer, that's what I wanted to do. So I post these little funny little sketch videos and stuff, and a lot of them are very raunchy, or just kind of are, again, just to be funny. So I'm going to show you guys some of them that they would use against me in Anger Gay Pope's video. Here are a couple of the different TikTok videos that are being used against me. You guys can see this on my TikTok page, @StevenFMango is my username. Unfortunately, I cannot play the music that goes along to these different TikToks since it's copyrighted. They are very funny, so if you guys want to see more comedy skits from me, then head on over to my TikTok. Over the top, they're crazy, they're funny, they're wild, and they're using that to try to paint off like, oh my god, Mango lost his mind. If you guys can't see that those are just funny, funny, silly videos, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's just interesting that someone like Karen thinks like, yeah, say that, you know, he has all these sexual videos, and they bring in my marriage too. Like, I must have a weird marriage with my husband. My husband has absolutely nothing to do with this, but they try to drag my husband in these videos to, again, drag him into something that he's not involved in and bring up my personal marriage, which doesn't have anything to do about how Karen took $7,500. Again, this is all to distract away from the accusations about Karen if they can try to get more people to watch, say, a video such as this. So you guys can see it's absolutely ridiculous, and Angry Gay Pope as a gay person going to make these videos for Karen, coming for another LGBT person, making silly TikTok videos. It's just, it's funny, it's stupid, it doesn't even bother me, but it's just to show you guys like how ridiculous that they're going to these levels to try to discredit me in some way. I also brought up this lawsuit with my former employer at a salon that I used to work for. So again, Angry Gay Pope tried to be like, oh my god, he had this like ex parte restraining order issued against him. There's never a restraining order issued. What happened was I came on camera and I made a video talking about working conditions about a year or two ago, before I really knew like what line I could cross or not with like exposing or making a video such as this. But I was talking about working conditions at the salon. I was talking about how we didn't get breaks and a lot of other different things. Again, when you work for a company, a lot of the times you can't reveal confidential information and stuff like that, which I now know better about stuff like that. But basically, they got me on the legality of calling the salon owner the CEO. She wasn't the CEO, she was the owner. So they issued, or they put in an application rather, within the court to have a hearing about having my video taken down. What happened was, they had to go through that proceeding in order to have it on record and having a hearing date, which didn't happen. This all got taken down off the internet within like a day or two, when they brought up that they weren't too happy with me calling the owner CEO or talking about the lack of breaks or any of that sort of stuff, right? And these big businesses, that's how they are. So I took down my video, and again, never went to court, never heard anything past that point. Took the video off the internet, and that was that. But if I didn't take the video down, or if I objected or anything like that, they would get the judge to force me to take that YouTube video down. So again, it was just a company strong-arming me in order to not put up a video with my truth and my information. So that's what that was about. But again, he's trying to make it seem like, oh my god, he has restraining orders, he's crossing the line, he's sexual, he's borderline, he's all these different things. So again, that's what that was about. And the other videos too, which Chris Shelton also was doing. So we're going to get into Chris Shelton very briefly, in which he's victim shaming me and just a lot of other things. So we're getting into Chris Shelton, but both of them try to make it seem like because I have a drama channel on YouTube, a beauty commentary channel is probably the better way to put it, but that somehow discredits the work I do here on Mangotology. So I'm actually kind of glad we're having this conversation, because some other people don't really know about some of my other YouTube channels. I have 5, and there's different things. And again, if Karen or Angry Gay Pope or Chris Shelton twist things a certain way, it again is a way to try to make me look bad when there's actually no smoke to the fire. So basically, I have another channel called Mango Tea. I'm sure you guys know what that is. It has almost 40,000 subscribers on that channel. I stopped posting there. I haven't really posted in probably, I would say, since like August. Maybe I posted like 1 or 2 videos since then, but it's been a while since I've really like posted on this channel. But I do have a background as a licensed cosmetologist. I haven't done hair in 4 to 5 years. Angry Gay Pope or Karen, who put it in the title that I'm a cosmetologist, but I do have a license, so I guess you can call me one. But basically on that channel, I have a background in the beauty world. So when I started watching a lot of beauty related content of others speaking about eyeshadow palettes and makeup and different things, I'm like, I want to chime in on this, especially with beauty influencers, and a lot of them present a different image online than what they really do behind the scenes. So I wanted to make a beauty commentary channel, and again, want to call it a gossip channel or not, whatever, it was more for the escape to be able to do something outside of this channel, which is really serious activism work of really hard things for me to talk about, my truth, and I have a lot of post-traumatic stress and a lot of different heavy things of the aftermath, if you will, of leaving Scientology. So when I do beauty gossip and stuff, it was an escape for me to be able to do something more fun and more lighthearted. It was just a fun escape to be able to make these different videos, and I'll give you a little example about what gets posted on that channel. Again, when you engage in gossiping about beauty gurus or makeup companies and stuff, there's fans of those. I did a couple videos on that channel where other people would chime in and would talk about me, because again, it's almost like high school cliques. You're sitting at this person's table versus this one, and if we talk about you or whatever, that's what those games are. Those people of Beauty by Ashley and a couple other people that he actually put in his video who were saying things like, oh my god, Stephen Mango, and whatever that they were going on about was not about my Mangotology channel. They were talking about my beauty drama channel. So again, he was trying to make it seem like people were talking negative about me, about my Scientology activism, which is not true. An example of what gets posted on that channel is, for example, like Jeffree Star is releasing a purple eyeshadow palette, charging $52 for that eyeshadow palette. Anastasia Beverly Hills just decides that she's going to release her eyeshadow purple palette on the same day as Jeffree Star. Even though Jeffree Star had it announced for 6 months, Anastasia Beverly Hills is now going to sell her palette for $42. So why and what is the drama between Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jeffree Star? Why is she trying to sabotage Jeffree Star's eyeshadow palette launch? And what is going on with, you guys know like what I'm trying to get at. It's like that type of stuff, right? And being like, oh, why is John Kuckian saying that his cosmetics company is being manufactured in Italy, when if you go on the label and you actually research into the barcode, it actually says that his cosmetics are manufactured in the People's Republic of China in a non-FDA approved lab, but he's able to sell to America. It's like stuff like that where I'm actually talking about beauty companies and stuff like that. Again, it's a way for me to have fun. I'm not doing it anymore because I don't like being involved into the gossip. But again, it's different things. I have another beauty channel where I'm making aesthetic treatment videos and stuff like that. I have a Stephen Mango channel. I have a Mango mukbang channel coming where I'm going to eat and talk on camera. So there's multiple channels that all are separate and are different elements and part of me that don't cross into Scientology. So now we're going to get into Chris Shelton's video. Again, Chris Shelton admits that he's a friend of Karen, and he's said very complimentary things over the years on his channel about me. Chris Shelton has since blocked me, and again, he's completely under the spell of De La Carriere. And it's interesting that these people are former cult members who can't realize that they're not engaging in proper critical thinking, reasoning abilities, or able to see that they're in a cult all over again. Like, it's so mind-boggling to me. But someone like Chris Shelton calls himself the critical thinker at large, but he doesn't actually engage in any form of critical thinking or reasoning abilities. And this has been said by his own critics for a number of years. And many people are like, hey, Chris Shelton, you don't actually look critically at information. So again, when he says in his video, hey, you know what, I spoke to Karen, she says she's not auditing, so therefore I go in with Karen's side. Whereas he doesn't show anything that I showed, he doesn't speak on my side, and he doesn't present both sides of the picture. I'm telling you guys, go listen and watch their videos if you really want to. Reach out to Karen, see what she has to say. Watch my video, and then take all the evidence and information and draw your own conclusion. That's the healthy thing to do. Why are they able to say, don't listen to Mango, don't watch his video, he's not trustworthy, only listen to our side? Anyone who does that is trying to stop and prevent you guys from being able to look at pretty much what is the truth. Like, why are they trying to hide my videos? What do I say in my videos that gets them all to block me, unfriend me, and practice disconnection? But basically, in Shelton's video, he starts to victim shame, and he said that basically I was just public, and yeah, we know like some of the regging sessions or recruitment things are kind of harsh, but Mango almost doesn't have the right to feel the way he does or have post-traumatic stress or have such a negative response because he was just public. We were Sea Org, and this happens so much in the ex-Scientology critic circles that it's always had me rolling my eyes. Like, I was Sea Org, I was at Int Base, I was staff, this person's public. Mango was only in for 4 years. He was at Celebrity Center, he didn't have it as bad, he wasn't that high up on the bridge, he wasn't auditor trained. It's all nonsense. It's just like Karen putting herself on a pedestal, like I was a class 12 OT whatever. Who cares? It's all gibberish. It was all just a figment of Hubbard's imagination. So if you're going to use that to kind of play these ranking games, you might as well go back in Scientology where people actually respect if you're a class 12, respect if you're an OT versus clear versus on the lower part of the bridge, right? Like, those things all don't mean anything. We were all involved in that Scientology, world, and we were all victims to that. Maybe to varying lesser degrees. Some people were deeper and some people were a little bit less. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that because one person has a higher trauma response doesn't mean that because they were public, it somehow invalidates them in some way because they weren't as deeper in, versus someone who could be in the Sea Org, leave, and the next day, like, they never think about Scientology again, right? Everyone has their own individual process, maybe underlying mental health conditions or whatever, you know, is the real story behind that. But again, he's playing this victim game, saying that I am not entitled to feel the way I am. I don't or shouldn't have the right to speak the way I speak about Scientology or as regularly, or I should be moving on. So there's that. And I think that you guys can see how toxic to the mind and how psychologically, like, that is not correct to be playing those type of games. And it is just, again, a very cliquey way of we were C or we weren't, right? So then he also goes into this trauma thing. Well, Mango's coming after a trauma survivor, like me and Karen, meaning Chris and Karen, are trauma survivors, and Mango trying to bring in like his beauty drama stuff, and not even the beauty drama stuff. He says like trying to bring drama and TMZ style gossip into the ex-Scientologists to try to create drama in some way. Again, then why didn't I say her name in the first video? That's when all the fear game and the disconnection, everything was happening to me, right? I didn't even say her name in that video. I was sharing just like I do on this channel. Maybe they don't share personal stories, but I share personal stories about what I went through in Scientology, after Scientology, the aftermath. If people are going to disconnect from me, or if the pizza guy rips me off for extra change and I show that on my channel, like that's what I do. Like I speak up about things that are wrong in the world. Doesn't matter if it's Karen, my own mother, my husband, like I'm gonna give someone a free pass if they're going to screw me over. And I was walked all over most of my life, and I'm now in a place where I'm a free independent thinker, where I don't let other people influence me and can pay me off or promise me favors if I make a video such as Angry Gay Pope or Shelton, and they know that they're doing the wrong thing. They know that they're speaking up about something that is just, and it should be, De La Carriere's own business. So trying to make it seem like I'm bringing like the gossip and the TMZ thing to my channel. I've never once engaged in drama on Mangotology. I've pretty much just shared my own stories, and like I said, the worlds don't cross. Serious activism and like a fun beauty thing where I talk about eyeshadow palettes have nothing to do with each other, and they're two separate things. And I could have different elements and different things about myself than being like Karen, who spends up to, you know, 5 in the morning going like this in all the ex-Scientology message boards. That's unhealthy for anyone's mind, right? I have been moving on with my life and venturing into other worlds, and I don't think my mind should be all consumed with Scientology or all consumed with the beauty industry or whatever. Like there's different parts and sides of me, and I think that's what makes a person a whole being and a whole person. And Shelton's trying to claim because I do gossip on the side, then somehow me talking about what I went through with Karen is just like a rumor or a gossip type thing, which again, not true. And this whole thing about trauma survivors and stuff, like who are you, Chris Shelton, to talk about my trauma? You know what I mean? Like that's individual and personal to myself, and I'm open and honest and vulnerable about it. And he's trying to make it seem like, okay, because she was a trauma survivor means that somehow like she's immune from criticism. So which one is it, guys? Do you want to play the mental health card, because trauma is involving the mental health? So do you want to play the mental health card, or do you want to attack my mental health? You're attacking me for my post-traumatic stress, attacking me for my borderline, for my depression, anxiety, whatever. You can use my mental health against me, but then when you want the card to swing out about the mental health, then you guys can pull that card as like your free pass. Karen's been out for 10 years. If she wants to get help for her trauma, you, Chris Shelton, whomever, you have had 10 years to see a therapist, to see a doctor, whatever. And maybe you have, wonderful. That is, again, not my business. It's just the point behind it. Karen is still auditing people as of a year ago while she's still taking people's money for Scientology when she knows it's wrong. She says it's wrong. She fights against Scientology. That's the problem I have, that she's being secret and hiding and then using people's auditing abuse stories to discredit Scientology when she still takes people into session. That's the problem that I have with Karen. So again, it has nothing to do about her trauma. You can't use it as an excuse. Just like if I shoot up a school and I say I'm bipolar, is that going to mean that I don't go to jail? Like, of course, mental health's not an excuse. I'm not excusing my behavior. I'm not playing a victim card or anything. I'm just saying like, hey, this is all the different parts of me, and this is my experience that I'm having. I'm not saying, oh, because I'm bipolar, which I'm not, but because I'm bipolar and I commit a crime, excuse that because I have mental illness. Like, doesn't work that way. And again, Chris Shelton's trying to talk like how serious it is and talking about his mental health of being a trauma survivor, and then he posts pictures like this. Again, that's like where the disconnect lies for me as well. Like, okay, you are saying like how traumatized you are, but then you smile with thumbs up outside your abuser's building, and you smile with like the bridge to total freedom. So again, Shelton, I just don't understand like why you're defending Karen De La Carriere. I don't know why you're shaming me again too, and for my mental health. You are saying I'm coming for trauma survivors when it's not that, and you know that. And you know that that doesn't make someone immune, even if they've went through trauma, that I have to be quiet or I have to be silenced, or you guys have to gaslight me to feel like I can't say what I want to say because this person went through a lot. Doesn't mean that this person can go and rip people off. So if we are going to gossip a little bit, Chris Shelton, then I think it's very interesting as well that you are not, or you say you're not pro-gay, and same with Karen De La Carriere. She also, in the last 2 weeks when I was on the Outer Banks, there was a post about Anderson Cooper, and she mentioned it as his gay lifestyle. No one can be confused in 2020 that being gay isn't a lifestyle, it's who you are. No one uses the term gay lifestyle, which De La Carriere did. And Chris Shelton was talking to one of my friends when he was hitting on her when he was single, and talked about how he wasn't pro-gay. So I'm going to show you both of those, and that's it on that. From Karen's Outer Banks cult, she made a post saying, Anderson Cooper of CNN did a sizzling series about Int-Base called Scientology, A History of Violence. It was an ongoing series that went on day after day after day. Scientology went into full-blown vengeance and even made a hate page with the snide remark about his gay lifestyle. Someone said, the word lifestyle is purposefully paired with gay by homophobes to make it sound like a personal choice. No gay person has ever thought it really was a choice. Anderson Cooper is gay, period. He doesn't have a gay lifestyle, because that is like saying a brown-eyed lifestyle. Gets off soapbox. And that comment was in regard to Karen referring to it as a gay lifestyle versus just being gay. In the direct message between Chris Shelton and my very attractive friend he was hitting on, he said, at the time I was totally neck deep in all of Hubbard's anti-gay crap. I'm not all pro-gay now, but I am tolerant and not thinking there is something mentally unbalanced with somebody doing that. Think about that, him saying, with somebody doing that. What a homophobe. Now these videos that they both put out, how is this not any different than what Scientology would do to discredit me? If I spoke out, and like I have about Scientology, and say I removed all the words. Say I said, I paid $7,500 for auditing, they wanted $17,500. I wanted to commit suicide, I was at the lowest point of my life, I was overdosing, they told me not to get any medical help, keep paying them for auditing, go in for this marriage counseling, going behind the scenes and telling me to post different things, whatever, but if I left, that I would get disconnected from. If I put all those words and that, say, put Scientology in front of that for you guys, you would be outraged, right? Like, honestly, you would be like, wow, I can't believe, like, it would be used, and I would be on the news tomorrow talking about how Scientology prevented me from seeking mental health therapy, right? So when I put the words Karen De La Carriere, then it becomes all the gaslighting and all these things. She's some Scientology activist hero. How could you come and expose her? And they play all these games, and then she's releasing the hate videos through Chris Shelton and Angry Gay Pope and all these different things. So it's like, you guys wouldn't be surprised if I said it was Scientology, so why is it a big surprise now it's De La Carriere? This is also someone too why I don't feel like she cared about me, why I feel like I was just a dollar sign to her, because you guys know about like 2 years ago or so, I had a spinal tumor. Here you can see the tumor itself, me getting ready for surgery, as well as me in the hospital coming out from surgery. And it was really like a scary thing for me because I didn't know like how I developed it, why I'm having, you know, this incredible pain in my spine, and I didn't know what was going on. I was rightfully going through a lot and having to go to the hospital and get CAT scans and get MRIs and all that sort of stuff, preoperative blood work. So basically on S2, S3 of my spine, they went in, they removed the tumor, they did a laminectomy, a decompression. I was in the hospital for days and days and days. And my husband posted about it on the internet where Karen and Jeffrey were friends with. I posted it on my social media, on my YouTube, just all over. Everyone knew basically in my life that I was getting the surgery because I was scared and I was looking for other people to talk about this with who might be able to give me some reassuring words, right? So I was inpatient at Cedars-Sinai for days and was going through a lot. Did I receive a card from De La Carriere? Did I get a phone call, a Facebook message, even anything? Nothing. It's supposed to be my life coach who cared about me, right? And like, why couldn't she even reach out just to say like, wishing you well during this time? So again, not to play the victim about it, it's just to show you guys like the truth about these different type of things. Like, she honestly didn't look at me in any sort of positive way to be there for me unless I'm paying her, unless I'm doing her dirty work, unless I'm willing to put out things for her, upvote her, posts on social media to flow power to her or whatever, right? So I just honestly don't think of Karen in a good way, and I haven't for a number of years. I just didn't speak up about how I felt just because I didn't want it to turn into what it has turned into. But then I realized I can't stay silent because I'm seeing a lot of other people having the same sort of experience. And actually I just thought about it too. It's kind of funny. Jerry Armstrong, I believe it is, who's a critic about Scientology, he's been experiencing, or he was experiencing, fair game about Karen. I saw this on social media when it happened too. And Karen, well, she was again poking about his sexual organs, let's say. So let's take a look at that. On March 5th, 2020, Karen said on Twitter, "I am not making this up. Jerry declared his eggplant was so big that Sea Org females would enjoy it. True story." As if him having a big would actually be like a bad thing to say about someone. But again, Karen uses people's mental health, sexual sort of things, like things that are kind of below the belt or personal or other things that she thinks are like an attack on that person because she still has that Scientology brain, when really it's like, yeah, give Jerry my number. Like, that sounds like a good time, right? But again, creepy and weird that Karen thinks those type of things are ways to discredit people, and she does the same attacks as Scientology does. She plays by their book, and I honestly feel like, look at the signs of a narcissist and narcissistic abuse. Karen is that 100%. Like, I've been under abuse from a narcissist. And it's obvious, like, she always held herself up to such high regard. She's this class 12 auditor. She's so amazing. She's so special. You have to do things for her. She's charismatic and charming, but she can flip on, you know, like a switch because, you know, you don't agree or want to say what she wants to say or post or whatever. Like, you have to, in her groups on social media, you have to post what she wants, says what she wants. You have to agree with her. Like, you can't have any counter thoughts. And there's a whole list that I've talked about in the last couple of videos. I guess to kind of close it, even though there is another element, which is Karen Pressley, which I really want to talk about in maybe part 4, which will be like the finale of showing you guys like how she went from someone who was supportive of me, that within minutes of re-adding me back in her Facebook group and adding me back as a friend on social media after she deleted me and lied about it when she was really talking to De La Carriere. And it actually shows pretty much in real time how De La Carriere twisted Karen Pressley's mind to believe that I was a Scientology evil informant. And there was a lot of screenshots and stuff that I took that I'm going to show you guys in the next video because this part is already way too long. But I guess I'll show you guys some of the different classifications very, very quickly about some bullet points of what makes up a cult and how Karen and her Outer Banks group are very cult-like in how they run. So let me show you guys that. Although we'll be going into detail on this much more in the finale of my series, these are just a couple of cultic warning signs so you guys can see. Single charismatic leader, which would be Karen. Instant friends, which would be all the other ex-Scientologists who are welcoming you into the group. If you are told who you can or cannot talk to or associate with. So again, if you disagree with Karen or call her out or say anything she doesn't agree with, you will then be disconnected from everyone else and she will dictate that others unfriend you and to disconnect from you. Say they are the only true group or the best, so why go anywhere else? Again, the Outer Banks is considered this elitist group where all the other famous and important ex-Scientologists belong. They do not allow their teachings or practices to be questioned. If you question, then automatically the group assumes that something is wrong with you. It can never be the case that anything is wrong with the group's practices or teachings. Often they will try to shut you down by accusing you of having a bad attitude. Again, so if you say anything against Karen or about something that she disagrees with or it's not in alignment with what she wants, you'll get muted from the group or you'll get completely booted or you'll get reprimanded or you'll get a whole entire email about why what you said is going to be removed or needs to be reposted, or you just don't, again, have the ability to have your own free thought or opinion. They will push you to obey by using guilt. They will demand complete submission to the group, its leader, and its teachings. They will do this by making you feel absolutely rotten about yourself. They will ridicule you and attack any weakness you might have, or invent weaknesses you might have if they can't find any. Their goal is to break your will by causing you mental anguish. So you guys could see this from some of my other messages from Karen, where she would try to guilt me. Why won't I do things for her? She's done so much for me. They make you feel bad, like you're doing something wrong, and gaslighting you. And a lot of people think, oh, being in a cult must mean there must be like some sort of religious doctrine or something like that. You could be in a one-on-one cult in a relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse. So cults don't necessarily have to be a huge group organized activity. It doesn't even necessarily have to be even religious. It just has to be that there is a leader or someone who's trying to assume dominance over others. Okay guys, thank you for staying tuned during this very long video. I know that there's a lot that's been going on between what I've said and the different attacks on me now and stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in and hearing my side. Again, I implore you guys to draw your own conclusions. I'm not a cult leader. Believe what you want. If you are outraged, as I am, about how they've attacked my mental health and have slandered me and doing all of the different Scientology attack methods outside of the cult, I would suggest, and this is just what I would do if I was you guys, I would hold these people accountable. Write to them on social media, write to them on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, on their YouTube comments, on these videos and stuff like that, and tell them how you feel, and tell them that it's not right how they've attacked my mental health and have shamed me for who I am as a person, and just all the different qualities of how, like, Shelton was victim shaming me and all these different things. Unsubscribe from them, like, hit them where it hurts, guys, or else they're not going to be able to take accountability if things just carry on as normal. Do you think Karen, you know, she hasn't issued me an apology, she hasn't issued a refund or anything like that? If you guys actually continue to make this a matter where they need to address it or they need to take action about this, then that's the only time that they're going to do that. If you guys ignore it, then what are they going to do? They're just going to brush it under the rug and carry on. And again, I think it's really interesting that this is all going on behind the scenes, but Karen is like the main spearheader of getting all these ex-Scientologists and other people to unfriend me. Mike Rinder unfriended me today, and like other ex-Scientologists, and it's just to the point where now everyone has shunned me out because I made a video about cherished leader Karen De La Carriere of the anti-Scientologists. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please sure to go down below and write a comment and let me know what you think about all of this as well as today's video. Give this a thumbs up. Make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so you get an alert when I release part 4, which will be the final part before we continue on making videos as usual here on my channel, exposing Scientology. This isn't a critic attacking critic channel, but this is something that was a very violating thing that she did to me, and I want to expose it and talk about it on my channel with you guys and see if this is someone that you guys really want to continue to support or watch or whatever. So thank you guys for watching. Follow me on social media at Stephen May. You guys can follow me and keep up with my life on social media. Thank you so much for watching. I love each and every single one of you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.